How are you, grade 11 learners? This is a program where your learning never stops but continues on your respective homes. I am Teacher Ellie, and welcome to the General Mathematics edition of Telemath Aralan. This session is composed of two lessons. The first lesson tackles the continuation about representing real-life situations using rational functions. And the second lesson will delve about distinguishing rational function, rational equation, and rational inequality. It is assumed that you learners already grasp full understanding about functions which was discussed on the previous sessions. Rational function can model a number of real-life situations. One particular example is the help that is extended by the government to the citizen during the time of pandemic. Majority of our fellow citizens experienced hardship and required help coming from the government. As a response, they provided a particular amount to a certain percentage of population that can be represented as rational function to determine how much either in cash or in kind an individual may receive. Real-life situations that involve rational function is mostly seen in economics and science. However, other disciplines also incorporate this concept. If you wonder how rational function can help, this session will give you a gist about it. Yesterday, it has been discussed that a rational function is a function of the form r of x is equal to p of x over q of x, where p of x and q of x are polynomial functions and q of x is not a zero polynomial. For the continuation about representing real-life situations using rational functions, let us watch this short video entitled Love in Times of COVID. For your focused watching, here are the guide questions that you are going to answer.
How much is the total amount of money the barangay can use for its relief operations? What is the concern of one barangay kagawad regarding the total number of families who will benefit with the relief? Do you think it is valid? Why? Those two questions will be your guide questions while watching the video.
Are you ready? Let us now watch the video.
One day in the barangay hall.
To our honorable councilors, one of the problems that we are facing is how to provide relief goods to our kabarangay.
I just confirmed that Mr. Martin will donate 35,000 pesos. Mr. Velarde made a pledge of 60,000 pesos.
Our barangay has a budget amounting to 347,000 pesos. We have approximately 850 families.
Our total budget for the relief goods is 442,000. It will be divided equally to 850 families. So how much will be budget per family for the relief goods, Kagawad?
Each family will receive goods that cost 520 pesos. We can buy rice, canned goods, chicken, and hygiene kit.
But the number of families is just an approximation. We must consider those who transferred residency and those who were stranded.
Yes, you're right. We must do an actual survey to find out the actual number of families residing in our barangay.
You have watched a real-life scenario which can be analyzed mathematically. To determine the amount of relief that will be distributed to 850 families, the total donations and the total budget of the barangay will be added. The total donations obtained is 95,000 pesos, and the total budget of the barangay is 347,000 pesos. So we obtain 442,000 pesos. This amount will be divided to 850 families, so we obtain 520 pesos. However, there are cases that one quantity varies. That in this case is the total number of families. Due to unavoidable circumstances such as being stranded and change of residency, we cannot control that variable. As a result, another computation will be made.
Suppose the officials conducted a survey for 4 days to determine the actual number of families residing in the barangay, and the secretary constructed a table to keep track of the data. After the first day of survey, it was determined that there are 855 families living in the barangay. Then the amount of relief each family will receive will be 516.96 pesos. After the second day, it was determined that there were 882 families living in the barangay. Then the amount of relief will be changed to 501.13 pesos. After the third day, the amount of the relief will be 485.71 pesos, and after the fourth day, it will become 474.76 pesos. Notice that as the number of families increase, the amount allocated per family decrease. In writing a representation, we will arrive at f of x is equal to 442,000 over x, where x represents the number of families.
It was defined that rational functions are expressed as a ratio of two polynomials p and q. The value of rational functions is defined for all real numbers x, except for the value of x that makes the denominator 0. There are different relationships between rational expressions. It may involve inequality, equality, and functions, and that is what we are going to dig deeper in this session.
Wanted. Let us read and analyze this advertisement. Call for applicants for contract of service workers. For the purpose of 2020 Census of Population and Housing, Philippine Statistics Authority is hiring enumerators. Any male or female. Age is at least 18 years old and at most 45 years old. Educational attainment is at least senior high school graduate. Salary is 700 pesos per day. And last, physically fit for field work. Interested applicants must submit application letter and personal data sheet to PSA Romblon. This job advertisement shows the need to conduct a census. Census is important because it will serve as the basis for planning for the future, such as public safety, infrastructures like hospital and schools, and improving homes in the neighborhood. This also serves as the basis in predicting the number of people who need help in times of crisis. However, in finding enumerators who will conduct the census, there are different qualifications needed, and some of those are age requirement and educational attainment. To represent it mathematically, the use of inequality symbol was employed. However, the salary was also mentioned, and to be able to represent it, equality symbol is used. In this session, you will compare rational expressions using equality and inequality symbols. Thus, you will further classify the differences among rational equation, rational inequality, and rational function. To determine the difference among rational function, rational equation, and rational inequality, here are their definitions. Rational equation is an equation involving rational expressions. Example, x plus 4 over x minus 1 is equal to 1/5. Rational inequality is an inequality involving rational expressions. Example, x minus 2 over 5 is greater than 3. Rational function is a function of the form f of x is equal to p of x over q of x, where p of x and q of x are polynomial functions and q of x is not a zero function. Example, f of x is equal to x squared plus 6x plus 8 over x plus 4. Classify me. Determine whether the given sentence is a rational equation, a rational function, a rational inequality, or none of these. Let's have the first one. X plus 5 over x minus 1 equals y. Is it a rational equation, a rational function, a rational inequality, or none of these? Answer, it's a rational function. This is an example of rational function because the symbol y is also a representation of function of x or f of x. Let's have the second one. Square root of 2 over x plus 1 is less than or equal to 3. Is it a rational equation, a rational function, a rational inequality, or none of these? Answer, none of this. None of this because square root of 2 over x plus 1 is not a rational expression. And last, 1 plus x over x minus 2 is greater than or equal to 4. Is it a rational equation, a rational function, a rational inequality, or none of this? Answer, it is a rational inequality. DIY. Do it yourself. Try to answer these exercises. Manuel has 10 cups of flour to be used in baking cakes, and he wanted to split it evenly among the containers that he will use so that he can adjust the measurements of other ingredients. Construct a function C which would give the number of cups of flour each of the number of containers n will have. I will give you 30 seconds to answer this problem. Go! Are you done? Let us see if your answer is correct. The function C, which would give the number of cups of flour each of the number of containers n will have, will be C of n is equal to 10 over n. Let's have another exercise. Determine whether the given is a rational function, a rational equation, or a rational inequality, or none of these. I will give you 30 seconds to answer, and your time starts now. What's your answer? Let us see if your answer is correct.
This session covered varied situations that can be seen in real-life scenario, while the second proceeded to the deeper portion of rational sentences. I hope what you have learned today made your day productive. Again, I am Teacher Ellie, and this is Telemath Aralan.